Hi everyone, this video is for iReady lesson Understand Proportional Relationships.
Robert bought 2 movie tickets for $10. Dion spent $20 on 4 movie tickets. Let's find the price per ticket. Complete each statement.
Okay, so we want to see what is the relationship between the price and the number of tickets. So we see here that if we do dollars per ticket or price per ticket, 10 divided by 2 would give us 5. So that would mean that our unit rate is 5. So now down here, we need to make sure that when we do 20 divided by 4, it equals 5. If that's the case, which it is, we have a proportional relationship. So these two says you can multiply both quantities in the ratio 2 to 10 by blank to get the ratio 4 to 20. Okay, so here we're just trying to get from 2 up to 4 and from 10 up to 20. So we're going to multiply by 2.
When 2 ratios are equal, you can write them as a proportion.
Okay, so now we figured out before that the price of one movie ticket is going to be $5.
The ratios in the table all have the same unit rate, $5 for one ticket. A set of equivalent ratios like this represents a proportional relationship. Nina walks on the path around the pond at the city park. When she walks around the path one time, Nina has completed 1 lap. The table shows the distance Nina walks based on the number of laps she completes. Let's find the distance Nina walks after completing 1 lap. Complete each statement.
Okay, so 1 mile divided by 2 laps is going to give us 1/2 mile per lap. So we're going to write that as a decimal, which is going to be 0.5. Same thing here, 2 divided by 4 will give us 0.5. And the ratios in the table do show a proportional relationship because we get the same unit
The
rate.
unit rate in a proportional relationship is called the constant of proportionality.
So remember, the constant of
the constant of proportionality is the length of 1 lap, or 5/10.
Is just going to be a big fancy word for unit rate.
A traditional Spanish guitar is built with nylon strings, and part of the guitar neck is attached inside the body. Luis is learning to play traditional Spanish guitar from his grandfather. The table shows the total number of hours he practiced over 3 days. Let's find out if Luis practices the same amount of time each day. Complete each statement.
So on day 1, we see from our table, he practices 1.5 hours. Now we're going to divide 3 by 2 to see if we also get 1.5, which when you do 3 divided by 2, you do get 1.5. And now when you do 4.5 divided by 3, you also get 1.5. So we know we have the same constant of proportionality, the same unit rate. So they are equal and proportional. And the constant of proportionality is 1.5.
Tony practices the piano 6 days a week. The table shows the total number of hours she practiced 1 week. Let's find out if she practiced the same amount of time each day. Complete each statement.
Okay, so we want time practiced per day. So our chart's backwards here. So this is our y and this is our x. So we're doing 1 divided by 2. So when we do that, we see that she is going to practice 0.5 hours per day. And over 4 days, when we see here, we do 3 divided by 4, which will give us 0.75. So what we see here is that we do not have the same constant of proportionality. There's no constant of proportionality. So there's no unit rate. So we write the unit rate is not the same for each time period. So the relationship is not proportional.
Harper recently started a babysitting job. She puts money in a savings account each week from her earnings. The table shows the total amount in Harper's account each week after she makes a deposit. Is the amount Harper saves proportional to the number of weeks?
Well, let's check it out. So we want money per week. So here, money would be our Y. So we'd have 25 divided by 1. So in week 1, she makes $25 per week. Over here in week 2, we see that she made $45. So if you take out your calculator and you do 45 divided by 2, you'll see that in week 2, she only made $22.50. And then in week 3, she goes back to making $25 per week. So this is not a proportional relationship.
Nice job.
Thanks.
Which statement tells why the amount Harper saves is not proportional to the number of weeks?
Okay, so we know that the amount saved in 1 week is not the same amount that is saved per week over 2 weeks. So it's going to be that choice. Oops. Okay.
Let's find the amount saved per week over 2 weeks and compare it to 1 week. Complete each statement.
Okay. So here we saw that in 1 week we made $25. Now we know in the second week we said we do 45 divided by 2, which will give us $22.50. And the amount saved in 1 week is not the same as the amount saved over 2 weeks, so we know it's
Great.
not a
the
proportional
relationship is not proportional, so there is no constant of proportionality. Agua fresca is a fruity drink made by blending water, fruit, lime juice, and a little bit of sugar. Ramona's Restaurante sells agua fresca in different sizes, as shown in the table. Is the price of the drink proportional to the number of ounces?
Okay, so when we do each of these, remember we're doing price per ounce. So we're going to do 2.4 divided by 12, and that's going to give us 0.2 or 2/10. We're going to do 3.2 divided by 16, which will also give us 2/10, and then 4 divided by 20, which also gives us 2/10. So yes, it's proportional because our constant of proportionality is 2/10, which we're going to work out over here.
Which statement tells why the price of the drink is proportional to the number of ounces?
So each drink has a price of 20 cents or 2/10 per ounce.
Let's compare the price per ounce of each drink size. Complete each statement.
So we know we did the work. 2.4 divided by 12 is 20 cents or 2/10. Down here, 3.2 divided by 16 again is 2/10. Make sure you include your decimal point. And then down here again, 2/10 for 20 cents. So they are the same, and it is a proportional relationship.
The relationship is proportional. The price per ounce is 20 cents, so the constant of proportionality is 20 hundredths.
Or 2/10.
The table shows the ratios of points to correct answers in a trivia contest. Plot each ratio in the table in the coordinate plane.
So our first point is 1, 20. Then we have 2, 40. Next we have 3, 60. And then last 4, 80. So now just from our graph, we can see that this is a straight line that will pass through the origin. So we know it's a proportional relationship without even doing any math work. So the points do lie on a straight line, and it does go through the origin. So we're going to fill that in.
The graph of a proportional relationship is a straight line that goes through the point 0, 0, which is called the origin. Science Club members are buying t-shirts for the science fair. They are having artwork created and printed on each shirt. The printing company charges a fixed amount for creating the artwork, and then charges an additional amount based on the number of shirts purchased. The graph shows the price, including artwork, for different numbers of shirts. Let's see if the relationship between the cost and number of t-shirts purchased is proportional. Start with 20 shirts. Complete each statement.
Okay, so right here we see that even though the points lie in a straight line, they do not pass through the origin. So this is not going to be a proportional relationship. So the price per shirt when you buy 20 shirts. So let's go down here on our x-axis. Here's our number of shirts. So 20 shirts is going to cost us $100. So we're going to do 100 divided by 20. 100 divided by 20 is going to equal 5. If we move over here, let's close this. Come on. Okay, if we move this over, we see that 40 shirts is going to cost us $180. And when we do 180 divided by 40, we get $4.50 per shirt. So right there, it shows us we don't have a unit rate or a constant, so it's not proportional. The points lie in a straight line that does not go through the origin.
Even though the graph is a straight line, it does not go through the origin. The unit rate is not the same, so the price per shirt is not a proportional relationship. The printing company offers another option for buyers who do not want to have artwork created. The graph shows the cost for different numbers of shirts purchased.
Okay.
Choose all the statements that tell why this relationship is not proportional.
So even though this graph will go through the origin, once we get here, we see that it's not a straight line. It's going to be a curved line. So we want to find the points do not lie on a straight line, and the cost per shirt is not the same, because if it was the same, they would be in a straight line. So we're going to have those two answer choices.
That's it.
Yay.
The graph shows the amount of money Nationwide Shipping Company pays its drivers for miles driven at work. Complete each statement.
Okay. So it says we have the amount drivers are paid per mile, blank the same for each distance. Well, let's see. If we have $40 per 100 miles and we pull up our calculator, that's going to give us, well, we can actually do mental math. 40 over 100 will reduce to 4/10. Now, if we do 80 divided by 200, again, that'll give us 8 over 20, which will simplify to divide the top and the bottom by 4. That will give us 2/10. Let's double check on our calculator. 80 divided by 200, 4/10. I was just kidding, making sure you're paying attention. 4/10. And we see here that we know that we're correct, that it's a constant of proportionality because we're going through the origin and it's a straight line. So we're going to write it is the same for each, and it is a proportional relationship. And the constant of proportionality is 4/10, 0.4 or 0.40, all acceptable answers.
Coach Rowley has determined how many calories he burns while riding his exercise bike.
So
The
again,
graph shows the
straight
number
line
of calories he
and
burned
through the
after biking
origin, so
different numbers
proportional
of minutes.
relationship. Now we see here we have calories burned is 20 and minutes is 2. So 20 divided by 2 is going to be 10. So 10 is going to be our constant. So this is the same, and it is a proportional relationship. And the constant proportionality is 10.
When Danny was born, her half-brother, Gabe, was 3 years old.
So right away,
The
we
graph
see
shows Danny's and Gabe's
straight
ages
line,
over different years.
not through the origin, so not a proportional relationship.
Complete each statement.
So the points do not go through the origin. So the relationship is not proportional. No constant of proportionality.
The graph shows the number of grams of protein in different amounts of Greek yogurt.
Straight line through the origin.
Complete each statement.
Proportional. So it is the same, and it is proportional.
You got it.
Yay. Now we have to find the constant proportionality. So we're going to do 5 grams of protein divided by 2 ounces of yogurt. 5 divided by 2 will give us 2.5. Take our quiz.
Students at Sunnyvale Middle School volunteered to work a 2-hour shift at a car wash fundraiser. The table shows the number of people who worked each shift and how many cars they washed.
So we're talking about cars per person.
Is the relationship between the number of cars washed and the number of workers proportional?
So
Complete the
here,
statement.
if we're doing cars washed per person, 8 divided by 4 is 2. All right. 12 divided by 6 is also 2. But right here, 20 divided by 8, that's not 2. And 25 divided by 10, that's not 2. So we know that it is not the same, which means it is not a proportional relationship.
Empanadas are a popular pastry in Hispanic cultures. They are made by stuffing dough with meat, cheese, or other ingredients, and then frying or baking them. Teresa makes homemade empanadas and sells them at local events. The table shows the price she charges for different quantities of empanadas. Is
Okay,
the
so
relationship
price
between price
per
and number of
empanada.
empanadas proportional?
So money
Complete
per
the statement.
empanada. So 1 divided by 2 is 50 cents, or 0.5. 2 divided by 4, again, 1/2, 0.5, 50 cents. 3 divided by 6, again, 1/2, 0.5, or 50 cents. And 4 divided by 8 is, again, 1/2, 0.5, or 50 cents. So yes, it is the same for each quantity, which means it is a proportional relationship. And the constant of proportionality is 0.5 or 50 cents.
Raphael is training for a triathlon, which includes swimming,
Right
biking,
away,
and
we
running.
see a straight
The
line
graph shows the total hours he
through the
spent
origin,
swimming over the
so we
first
know it's
4 weeks of his
proportional.
training. Is the relationship between the time spent swimming and the number of weeks proportional?
So the points
Complete
lie
the
on a
statement.
straight line that go through the origin. So yes, it is proportional. Click proportional.
Ralph's Catering sells platters of
Okay,
spicy
right
chicken
here.
wings.
It will
Customers
pass through
can
the
choose from
origin,
4 different
sure,
platter sizes.
but it's not
The
a
graph
straight
shows the
line.
price of
So
these
that's
platters.
not proportional, and there's not
Is the
a constant
relationship
of
between the
proportionality.
price and the number of chicken wings proportional?
So it's
Why or why
not
not?
proportional because the price of one chicken wing is not the same. Because if it was the same, we would have a proportional relationship.
During the summer, Gia works as a camp counselor.
Straight
The
line
graph shows the amount of
and
money
through the
Gia
origin.
earns for each day
So
she
proportional
works.
relationship. Thumbs up.
Is the
Okay.
relationship between the amount earned and number of
Yes,
days
it
worked
is.
proportional?
And yes, it
Complete
is
the
a
statement.
proportional relationship. And the constant proportionality, we're going to do y divided by x. So 40 divided by 1, which will give us 40.
Students at Ashmont Middle School volunteered to work a 2-hour shift at a car wash fundraiser.
Remember,
The
cars
table
washed
shows the
per
number
person.
of people who worked each shift and how many cars they washed. Is the relationship between
So
the number of cars washed and the number of workers proportional?
12 divided
Complete
by
the statement.
4, 3. 15 divided by 6 is not 3. So right away, we know it is not the same, which means it is not proportional.
Seth makes homemade granola bars and sells them at local events. The table shows the price he charges for different quantities of granola bars.
So price per granola bar.
Is the relationship between price and number of granola bars proportional? Complete the
Well,
statements.
we have 3 divided by 2, which is, if in fraction form, we can leave it as 3 over 2. Or if we actually divide to get a decimal, we'll get 1.5. 6 over 4 will also simplify to 3 over 2. And when we divide, that'll give us the same constant of 1.5. 9 to 6 also will reduce to 3 to 2, which will give us 1.5. And 12 to 8, same thing will happen. So yes, it is the same, and it is a proportional relationship. And the constant of proportionality is 1.5 or $1.50 per granola bar.
Grace is practicing for an upcoming piano recital.
Straight line
The graph
through
shows
the
the hours
origin.
she spent practicing over a
Proportional
4-week
relationship.
period. Is the relationship between
So
the time
yes.
spent practicing and the number of weeks proportional?
Straight line that
Complete the
goes
statements.
through the origin. And what's our constant? 5 divided by 1, which would give us a constant of 5, which we don't even have to do here. Extra
Caitlin's
work.
Catering sells 4 different platter sizes of barbecued shrimp.
Goes through the
The graph
origin,
shows the number of pounds of
but
shrimp
is not
and the price
a
of
straight
these
line.
platters.
So not a proportional relationship.
Is the relationship between the price and the number of pounds of shrimp proportional?
So we know we
Why or
want,
why not?
it is not proportional because the price of 1 pound of shrimp is not the same.
Kale is a leafy green vegetable that is low in calories but is packed with many essential vitamins and minerals, such as vitamin A, potassium, and calcium. The graph shows the number of calories in different quantities of kale.
Okay.
Is the relationship
Straight line
between the amount
and
of
through the
kale and the
origin.
number of calories proportional?
So yes, it
Complete the
is
statements.
a proportional relationship. And we know we have 25 divided by 50, which will give us 1/2 or 0.5. And we're done. Make sure you complete your iReady lesson all the way through till you get to the end of the quiz and you get a grade from iReady. Bye.